This week's Jewish terminology word is Maccabiah Games. Shalom, children of God. Welcome back to Marie Speaks God's Grace Bible Study. Today we are going to go over our Jewish terminology for the week. This week's word is Maccabiah Games. As someone who grew up playing sports, I'm truly feeling this week's term and have a deep appreciation for those even try to participate in the games. The discipline it takes to be an athlete is, in my opinion, almost the same discipline needed to serve in military or law enforcement. So many of my childhood wonderful memories involve sports and the wonderful coaches and teammates that I was so very blessed to have in my life. If I could live a couple of years over again and truly take in the moments, those sports years would be some. I would also make sure to let those who volunteered and supported us growing up know that they were just my coaches or assistants. No. In many ways they were my mentors. I learned to give back to my community from my coaches. I learned teamwork, which no doubt helped out when I joined the United States Marines years later. I learned to train when off season and always know my greatest competition was myself. My coaches made me want to be a better person. So if by any chance my coaches, or teachers, or SNCOs happen to see this, please know I am so very grateful to God that people like you exist. My world was and is a whole lot brighter because I had the privilege to be able to learn from you. #thank you. Shem. So what are the Maccabiah Games? Maccabiah.org states The Maccabiah is the world's largest Jewish athletic competition in the tradition and values of Maccabi, emphasizing the centrality of the State of Israel in the life of the Jewish people. The Maccabiah takes place every four years in Israel. The Jewish Olympics, as they are often called, are Maccabi World Union's largest and most famous enterprise. The principal mission of the Maccabiah is to facilitate a worldwide gathering of young Jewish athletes in Israel, staging the highest possible levels of sports competitions, and strengthening their connection to the State of Israel and the Jewish people. Within the Maccabiah there are 4 separate competitions that take place: Open, Junior, Masters, and Paralympics. Junior Games are open to any qualifying athlete aged 15 to 18. Masters are divided into a number of different age categories, mostly to accommodate older competitors, and the Open division is generally unlimited in age, subject to the governing international rules in each sport, and is intended for the best athletes from each delegation. In order to participate in the Maccabiah, athletes must represent a delegation. Delegations are formed by each of the territorial organizations that participate, i.e. France, Brazil, Germany, United States, Canada, Hungary, Australia, etc. History of the Maccabiah Games. The Maccabiah Games were the brainchild of Yosef Yekudili, a Zionist immigrant to British Mandate Palestine from Belarus. Inspired by the 1912 Olympics in Stockholm, Yekudili lobbied for a similar event in Eretz Yisrael. The Nassan Maccabi organization, named for Judah Maccabee, the Jewish warrior whose revolt against Greek oppressors in the 2nd century BCE is commemorated during Hanukkah, held its first competition in Tel Aviv in 1932. The game's initial interval was set at 3 years, but there was no competition between 1935 and 1950 as both Europe and the fledgling Jewish nation were embroiled in the destruction and turmoil surrounding World War II. The 1950 Maccabiah Games were the first in the new State of Israel and united Israel's athletic community in preparation for the 1952 Olympics, a kind of global coming out for Jewish athletes. Click hyperlink for article credit. So wonderful to learn more and more history. Don't you agree? This week's Jewish terminology word and definition is defined by the JPS Dictionary of Jewish Words by Joyce Eisenberg and Ellen Skinnick 2001 copyright first edition. I'm not paid to endorse nor affiliated. This book is from my personal library. I purchased this book from thriftbooks.com. You can get your own personal low-price copy using the link below. thriftbook.com. Remember to keep up to date with us via our website at Marie Speaks God's Grace.live for all our blog and social media links. Season 5 of the Bible study has begun. Our next class is Devarim, Deuteronomy ch 7 verse 1 through 11. We upload on YouTube and Rumble. So like, heart, Rumble, subscribe and or share for next class. Until next time, with God's beautiful mercy and grace we will see each other soon. Marie. The Maccabiah Games were the brainchild of Yosef Yekudili, a Zionist immigrant to British Mandate Palestine from Belarus. Inspired by the 1912 Olympics in Stockholm, Yekutieli lobbied for a similar event in Eretz Yisrael. The Nassan Maccabi organization, named for Judah Maccabee, the Jewish warrior whose revolt against Greek oppressors in the 2nd century BCE is commemorated during Hanukkah, held its first competition in Tel Aviv in 1932. The game's initial interval was set at 3 years, but there was no competition between 1935 and 1950 as both Europe and the fledgling Jewish nation were embroiled in the destruction and turmoil surrounding World War II. The 1950 Maccabiah Games were the first in the new state of Israel and united Israel's athletic community in preparation for the 1952 Olympics, a kind of global coming out for Jewish athletes.